Hi, I'm Matt with Stark Brothers. We're here in Marceline, Missouri today. We're all familiar with Walt Disney, but did you know that he spent a significant portion of his childhood growing up here in Marceline? And you might wonder, well, what's the connection that brings us here today? Well, it's apples, of course. We're here at the Walt Disney family farm with Kay Mallins. Kay is the executive director of the Walt Disney Hometown Museum here in Marceline. And Kay, we read a note that Walt had written that he said, as an adult, more things of significance happened to me in Marceline than have happened since or likely ever will. And it's real interesting. I was hoping you could share a little bit more with us how Walt's time here on the farm in Missouri affected the rest of his life.
Well, we're really glad to see you, Matt. We
Thank
always
you.
love it when our Stark Brothers family come to the Disney farm in Marceline. The farm meant so much to Walt that he carried it in his heart the rest of his life. As you said, he said more things of importance happened to him here. And you have to think here on this very ground is where he experienced his first drawing. He started drawing underneath his dreaming tree here in Marceline. He held his first family circus in the barn right behind us here in Marceline. And so all those childhood firsts he held very dear as the most important part of his life.
That's great. So my family and I, not only being gardeners and fans of gardening and fruit trees, but we've also been fans of Walt Disney and his story. And on a vacation a few years ago, we went to the Walt Disney Family Museum out in San Francisco. And one of the exhibits there in the beginning has an audio clip of Walt Disney being interviewed, and he's reminiscing about his childhood here in Marceline. And he's talking about the apple orchards that he had. And that really got me excited, and it's really fun to hear the story. And he was talking about these Wolf River apples.
We had what we call Wolf River apples. They were that big. People came from miles around to see our orchard, to see these big things.
And when we got back, we attended an event here at the museum in town, and I had a chance to chat with you and asked if you had any of those apple trees still here on the farm.
I remember that. Yeah, and unfortunately there were none
No.
left. Well, but thanks to our friends at Stark Brothers, we now have Wolf River apple trees on the Disney farm. A few years ago, we had this huge event, Disney Company event here in Marceline, when they brought D23 cast members and guests to Marceline for a special event here on the Disney farm. And thanks to you guys, we planted 13 trees, apple trees here on the farm in Marceline. And the very special part of it was that the Disney Company was so excited about it that they actually sent soil from the studio in California, enough that each guest got to put a little bit in when we planted the trees.
Right,
So, and they had apples on them before you told me they would ever have them. I thought, well, is that Disney magic that happened?
Maybe it was the magic fertilizer.
I think
from
that was
California soil
I
from
think
the
that was
studios.
it, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, so the Wolf River apple is an interesting apple. It's one of the larger apples. They grow up to be like 5 inches wide. And I was looking for comparison, because we don't have one right now, it's early spring, but comparison, a softball is about 4 inches. So this is a little bit bigger than a softball, so that is a huge apple. They weigh about 1 pound when they get to maturity. It's one of the most naturally disease-resistant apples, which makes it great for low-maintenance gardening for people who don't really have a lot of time to. Yeah, it comes from the Wisconsin area, and it grows really well up far north. So it's cold tolerant and grows great up there. And people just love them. And so we know Walt Disney loved them. We heard the stories about him talking about them. And so rumor has it that his mom would bake one pie with a single Wolf River apple.
She did, and actually Flora was very famous for her pies here in Marceline. And Walt loved his Wolf River apple pie, and actually it was something that the family carried on the tradition with wherever they lived. They didn't always get Wolf River apples, but they made this wonderful apple pie. But I happen to have the recipe for you.
Oh, wow.
That is a Wolf River apple pie recipe that Walt's mother used to make here on the farm.
Fantastic.
Wolf River apples,
So
yeah.
cool.
And I have to say, it is really, really good.
It's a really good recipe.
It's really, really good recipe.
So do you mind if we share this with
Please
our
do.
audience? Yeah,
We would
okay.
love everyone
Cool.
to be
So
able to.
we'll add this recipe to our website and put a link in it in the description below. So you all can try it, and we're excited to try it ourselves.
It's delicious.
Yep.
You're going to love it.
Cool. For people who are interested in learning more about Marceline, what are some of the other things that Marceline has to offer?
Well, of course, we have the Walt Disney Hometown Museum. We were gifted 3,000 artifacts by Walt Disney's little sister Ruth. So we tell an amazing story here, kind of the story of the Disney family, and especially their time here in Marceline. Adjoining the Disney Museum is also our Marceline Railroad story, and which is one ticket. You get in for the whole thing there. So we have little railroading exhibits as well. There are 7 Disney sites in Marceline that guests can do on their own. We're sitting in front of one of them.
Right.
Our guests can actually walk on the Disney farm and see all the signage on the way, and then visit Walt's barn.
And so for our audience who are fans of gardening and trees, we're actually sitting right in the middle of an historic arboretum full of trees from all different historical sites.
We are indeed. Actually, all of the trees here tie back to Walt Disney in some way. For instance, the Amelia Earhart tree is here, and that ties back to Walt and Charles Lindbergh and all the plane crazy. He very first did one of his cartoons.
Yeah.
So all the trees have a significance, meaning that are here on the farm.
So we had a lot of fun just kind of walking around and exploring and seeing what was out here. So I know anybody else would surely enjoy it as well.
Well, and Marceline is also the inspiration for Main Street at Disneyland.
Yes, yes.
So you can walk down the original Main Street USA and enjoy all the shops there and things to do there. We have the only federal building in the United States named after Walt Disney. The Walt Disney Post Office building is right downtown. You walk through E.P. Ripley Park, which is Walt named the steam locomotive he rode in opening day of Disneyland.
Nice.
So there's just all kinds of great,
cool
so go to the museum, enjoy the museum, and get a tour of downtown.
Cool.
Starting May 14th, you can take a QR code tour of the historic sites in Marceline. So anybody coming to Marceline, use your phone, you can learn about all the history.
Through the town. Very cool. Good. Kay, if people would like to learn more about the museum and how to come visit, where can they go to get more information?
Well, it's really simple. You just go to waltdisneymuseum.org.
Okay, great. So we'll put a link to that on our website below. And then also, if you're interested in a Wolf River apple tree of your own, we'll have a link to that product page on our website. And then just note that it's a very popular tree, and sometimes we sell out of it earlier in the spring. So if it's not available when you see this video, there's a little link that says sign up for email notifications, and you can get notified when the next batch is available.